If tariffs, full 25% on Canada and Mexico, along with whatever tariff rate is set by President Trump on China, and then if you include the retaliatory tariffs, I expect Kern County's GDP to fall by about 0.8 to 2.0% total. That's close to $1 billion a year at the top estimate. Ag would lose potentially up to $250 million, or a third of $1 billion. Manufacturing would gain a small amount, 28 to 70 million. Trade, transportation, and warehousing would be the big loser. You could see losses of up to 660 million a year.
One advantage of tariffs over income taxes is that tariffs are a consumption tax. Income taxes tax our productivity and our work effort. So if we were able to replace the income tax with tariffs, that might be a good idea overall from the point of view of the macroeconomy. However, tariffs cannot in any way produce anywhere near the amount of revenue for the government that the income tax currently produces. So it might be able to slightly reduce the income tax, or as we often see with government, it just gets added on to the income tax and we end up paying higher tariffs in the same income tax. So again, theoretically, not a bad idea, but in practice, not so much.
Broadly, there's been a literature post-2018 looking at the 2018 tariffs. And so what have we found? Basically, protected sectors, the manufacturing, we didn't see any employment growth. We saw significant employment declines in sectors that were hit with retaliatory tariffs, agriculture. GDP fell by $118 billion. That's a lot of money. It's a tax increase of about $1,072 per American household. Your purchasing power adjusted incomes fell by about $1.4 billion per month, and it accelerated inflation by 0.77 to 1.33 percentage points, which would put inflation around 4.5% if they were fully implemented. So tariffs are pretty much uniformly a negative economic policy.
I guess the first issue is the uncertainty. If there was clarity as to the timing and the degree to which a tariff might be implemented in the auto industry, we can start to plan. Government says we're going to do X, and then at the 11th hour they change their mind. Well, in the auto industry, it's not about software that we turn on and off. These are, million square foot production plants that happen to be located in other countries that you can't just pick them up and move them. Secondly, there's no capacity in the United States to absorb those plants. There's not excess production capacity in our industry. So if we want to be competitive globally, my position is that we need to support industry in a way that makes us more competitive, not less competitive. And bringing international production back into the United States will probably only result in us becoming less competitive.
Really, the key piece of information is that there is hope, that we have the ability to conquer some of the issues, especially tariffs, especially government spending, using some of the policies that are being implemented by President Trump.
Well, I think it was great, and my co-panelists were very, very knowledgeable, both on economics and on the practicalities. I learned a lot about the impact on the auto industry, and more generally the impact of tariffs on the economy as a whole here in Kern County. So I think people really got a lot of news that they could use today.
I thought today was a great meeting to have a discussion about tariffs and taxes and government's influence on people's lives. I think the most important thing is to be optimistic that tariffs are not the end of the world, that they may be short-lived, they may be long-term, but at the end of the day, people make good decisions for themselves and for their families, and tariffs should not have a big influence on that.